Hey everyone, it's Dave and Olive. Thanks for joining us here at Book Blather. We talk about the books we've read recently to help spread the joy of reading. We do review a lot of fantasy, horror, sci-fi on the channel, but we like to be pretty well read, so we mix it up with all other kinds of fiction and non-fiction as well. Today, yes, we're doing another book haul. All right, everybody. So we weren't actually going to film tonight originally for a couple reasons. Number one, because I gave myself this awful haircut. I got one of those new buzzers, and I'm still getting used to it. So I cut my hair like way too short. It looks ridiculous. I was going to actually like wait a few days before I filmed any more videos, so it looked a little better. But I don't know. The rest of my family, nobody noticed that I cut my hair, so maybe it's not that noticeable. But also I also already had like 2 glasses of wine. So, and I usually don't like to film when I've had something to drink, but you know, we'll give it a try, and we're in the mood for it, so we'll film it. If it comes out crappy, we just won't use it. But you know, who knows? Maybe it'll be some of our best work. So yeah, so don't judge us. This is another book haul that we're going to take you on. Look, this is another one that was just out of our control, honestly, right? Like, so this book haul happened because of the Fairfield Library book sale, right? And you know, we don't schedule these things. Like I mean, I can't control when the book fairs happen, right? So, I mean, the book sale, it is when it is, and you know, we're not gonna not go. So, you know, that book fair just happened, and so, you know, of course we went. And so I'll show you this. So this is basically us. We're driving into downtown Fairfield here, which is where the Fairfield Library is. They call this the big book sale, I guess. This is actually the first time we've been to it. And you know, over here you can see that we parked on the side, and here we're walking up to it from the side, and it's pretty nice, you know. And you know, it's especially in the springtime, it looks really pretty, both on the outside and on the inside. So if you look over to the side, it's kind of in a main intersection in downtown, and actually over here is the theater, actually, that one of the older theater that was preserved, and one of the local universities recently bought it, and they show like older movies for a discounted price, and so not like really old movies, just movies that aren't like the current ones that are out in the box office. So it's pretty nice. But anyway, here we are inside, and as you can see, it was this sale. They call it the big book sale, but it was not that big, right? It was all in just this room, and as you can see, it's not a tremendous amount of stuff. There's some YA in the front here, and some other nonfiction things on the side. Most of the interesting stuff was in the back, where all kinds of fiction back there. It's more than it looks like. It's double stacked, and all those boxes in the bottom, they're also all filled as well. So, as small as it was, we keep getting lucky in these used bookshops and these book sales, and we keep finding stuff that we're really interested in, even stuff that we were actually like about to get and we're really interested. And so that happened again at this one. So, and at this one, we got like a nice little stack. The paperbacks were $1, hardbacks were $2, and a lot of this stuff was in great condition. And so we got a big assortment of stuff, everything. We got, you know, fantasy, regular fiction, nonfiction, classic stuff, a whole bunch of stuff. So we're pretty excited to show you this. So we'll jump right into it. So the first thing is, this is a book that we've wanted to read for a long time. This is The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. So my daughter actually already has like the large paperback copy of this, so I didn't know if I was going to get my own, but I saw this good condition copy for $1, and I figured I might as well just get my own copy of it. And so this is, you know, if you haven't heard of it, this is one of the most famous fantasy books out there. I think it's part of what's supposed to be a trilogy. So this is the first one, The Name of the Wind. Second, this came out in 2007. There was another one called Wise Man's Fear. I guess there's some question about whether Patrick Rothfuss will actually ever finish the third one. It's been a long time, and he says he will, But it actually doesn't really matter, because it doesn't matter to me, because supposedly this book is just wonderful, and I'm going to read it anyway, no matter what, whether the trilogy is finished or not. And yeah, this is it's a story about a hero where he's telling of his travels in his own voice, and it's just supposed to be a phenomenal book. And I think anybody that reads any fantasy probably has already heard of this one. So next book we got was also a fantasy book, and I don't know what I was doing. This is one of those ones that was like total brain freeze, right? So there's a couple epic fantasy series that we have not read yet that I plan to read, and one of those is Wheel of Time. And so even though I'm not about to read it imminently, you know, like a little while back I had seen a used copy of book 1, so I just grabbed it because I know eventually we're going to hit that series. And so I'm there at this book sale, and I'm like moving really fast, right? Because I was going pretty quickly before I went into the office that morning, and so I'm like, oh, Wheel of Time book 2. Let me just grab it, you know, $1. Not Wheel of Time book 2. Okay, not even close. This is from the Sword of Truth series by Terry Goodkind, Stone of Tears. No idea why I grabbed this. Alright, so sorry about that. That same daughter just came home, and that set everybody off. You know, Olive is a very vicious watchdog, so she kind of goes a little crazy when somebody comes in the door. But anyway, getting back to it, total brain freeze. Have no idea. I know what the Wheel of Time is. I know what the Sword of Truth is. No idea why I had brain freeze and immediately thought Wheel of Time when I saw this sitting there in the stack and grabbed it. So I have no idea what I'm going to do with this. If you want this, let me know. I'll mail it to you, because I'm not planning to read the Sword of Truth series. There's a couple epic fantasy series that I am planning to invest the time into to read those, because you know, I've heard great things about them. Sword of Truth is not one of them, unless a bunch of you tell me I should read the Sword of Truth series, and then maybe I will. Yeah, I can think of somebody that's going to tell me that, actually. Anyway, so that was that one. That was a mistake. Alright, so the next one we got is switching gears. This is nonfiction. And so this is The Day the World Came to Town. By Jim Defede? I don't know how to pronounce that. But so this book, this is one of those books that's not in like my normal wheelhouse. It's not one I normally would have picked up. The reason I got this was because if you're a fan of this channel, you're probably already also a fan of the channel Vin over at Revenant Reads. So Vin has a great channel. He kind of does what I strive to do, which is, you know, he's a horror lover, but he's a teacher, and so on his channel he talks a lot of, you know, like history and nonfiction, all sorts of other stuff. So he's like tries to be very, or not tries, but he is very well read. And so it's a great channel to check out if you're like me and you're interested in exploring all sorts of other things that are not in like your normal, you know, fantasy, horror, science fiction genres. And Vin also has like a really good way of selling these books that I normally wouldn't be interested in. And that's what happened with this one. I had actually put this on my list. I added it to one of my, you know, TBR wish lists a while back when he talked about it. This is when 9/11 happened. And so when 9/11 happened, as most of us in America know, if we're old enough to remember, or we learned about it afterwards, when 9/11 happened, very quickly the entire airspace throughout the entire country was immediately closed. And so that meant that there was a lot of planes that were in the air that were carrying Americans, carrying foreigners, destined for all different places throughout the U.S. that suddenly couldn't land here, and they had to be diverted elsewhere. And so one place where a lot of those planes went to Canada, and in particular, a lot of them went to the airport in Gander, Newfoundland. Gander has a very serious airport that in the old days was used for other things. You know, when planes needed. When a lot of planes needed someplace to refuel, they couldn't go quite as far and make these like really long transatlantic flights, and they needed to stop somewhere. For fueling, they would stop there. It was also used for a lot of military stuff back in the day. So they have a really capable airport there that is today not as used as much. And so that was a good place for a lot of the planes to be diverted to. And so you have this town or city, whatever, that is not, it's not huge, and you had suddenly a huge amount of people coming in. And this is a story about basically what the people of Gander did, and basically about how wonderful all those Newfoundlanders, or as they call them, Newfies, were when all these waylaid travelers showed up. And how they were so welcoming to them, and how they rallied as soon as they realized they were coming, and took care of them when they were there, got them shelter, medicine, food, everything for their prolonged stay. And just like kind of a warming story. I knew that before I picked. I started reading it as soon as we got home. So I'm actually already halfway through this thing. So I knew that about it beforehand because Vin had sold it so well. But that's what it's like, and it tells the story. It gives you like these little snapshots of a lot of the individuals that were involved. Some of the local people, maybe a police officer, or the head of the local legion, or controller at the airport, or all these different people that were involved in making sure these people got in and somewhere safely, but also some of the travelers and what their stories were, and when they got redirected here. And so just a nice little heartwarming book. It's very, very easy read. It's not, like I said, not something I would have normally picked up, but when I couldn't believe I saw it there. I put it on the radar because of Vin, and then I saw it there. I'm like, holy cow! I couldn't believe this book was there. But so I grabbed it, and like I said, halfway through it already, and it's just a nice little feel-good book. Okay, so the next one is found a Stephen King book, Elevation. So I don't know too much about this one. This one is relatively recent. This came out in, 2018? So this first edition copy of the hardcover in perfect condition. I like it because it is a short Stephen King book, and I'm very unwell read when it comes to Stephen King. And this one, I don't know much about it, but it's just, so it's about this set in Castle Rock, which he has used for other stuff. And there's somebody that's there. There's a couple different characters. Somebody that's losing weight inexplicably, and this married couple of two women that some of the community is not accepting, and so that I don't know, causes all these people to react in different ways, and so that's all I know about it. But I just want, like I said, I want to pick it up because it's a short Stephen King book, so that's why we got it. Okay, so the next one we picked up was a Penguin classic, The Moon is Down by John Steinbeck. Maybe I should have, but I had never heard of this book before, but when I looked at it, it sounded really interesting. So this was apparently, the height of Nazi Germany's power. This was apparently widely circulated among the Nazi-occupied portions of Europe as basically Allied propaganda. It's a fictional story, but it was secretly translated into a bunch of different European languages, and it was so it's apparently about the celebration of the durability of democracy. So I had never heard of it, but it sounds like a pretty important book. Apparently it was like the most circulated book in that area at that time. So it sounded like really interesting and something that we should read. Okay, and the next one is we picked up an old book, The Plague by Albert Camus. Probably, I mean, most people have heard of Albert Camus, but you know, he was a French philosopher and author. So I don't know too much about this other than that, you know, it's about a plague, and so this is, you know, supposedly this is has like a similar, I don't know how you want to call it, like a surrealistic feel, I guess. That it's been analogized to Kafka's The Trial. So really enjoyed that book. I mean, that was a pretty crazy book. And so if this is anything like this, definitely something obviously we heard about it before, but something we're interested in reading. So okay, and the next one that we picked up is something that we were one of those books we were planning to get very shortly. We're going to go buy this one, and there it was for $1. And this is Atonement by Ian McEwan. So I evidently need another glass of wine, sip of wine to keep me going here. So I had heard about this book from Juan over at Plagued by Visions. He had been talking about this, and I'd heard about it before that, but he was talking about it, and that's what really got me interested in it. Again, I don't know too much about it other than that. So there's about a little girl, and her older sister gets involved with their housekeeper's son. They end up having like a romantic relationship, and she misunderstands it, and there's more, like some cousins come to visit and stuff, but anyway, she misunderstands the situation and causes a problem and makes a false accusation, and so so anyway, it's a story about what results from that. So it's supposedly a great book, and I mean troubling book, but a great book. It was like a finalist for the Booker Prize. It was listed on like Time Magazine's like 100 best English books at one point. And so that's all I remember about it. But when Juan was talking about it, was enough to make me put it the way he had talked about it, was enough to make me put it on the TBR. So so this what we're drinking here is Sauvignon Blanc. That's incidentally Juan's favorite drink right there. He loves that stuff. So that was Atonement. Then we picked up a graphic novel. So this is Northlanders. This is actually volume 2, but this is Northlanders. So we love Viking stuff, and so Northlanders. So this is set in the Viking Age, and this is something that we've been planning to. You know, we don't talk about too much on the channel, but we do read a lot of comics and graphic novels, and this was one that we were planning to get to. And so this is volume 2, so we'll have to go out and get volume 1. Maybe we'll find that at another book sale before we get to it. I don't know, but it's definitely one we wanted to try. So we were pretty excited to see this. And the next one we got was something that is going to make another booktuber, Michael K. Vaughan, very happy. So you may have heard this event coming up that's been sponsored by Michael K. Vaughan called June on the Range. So Michael is pretty into Westerns. We're not into Westerns. Not something we were interested in reading. Didn't really think that we were gonna get involved in June on the Range, but kind of toyed with the idea, well, maybe we'll try one just because Michael's doing it. And lo and behold, at this book sale, here was an original hard copy of Valley of the Sun by Louis L'Amour. A month ago would not have even known who Louis L'Amour was, but watching Michael, I have learned that apparently Louis L'Amour is a very well-renowned Western author. And so this one actually it happened to be just the one that they had there, but it looked like it would be a good one for me to do as an introduction, because it's actually a set of short stories. So, looked like a perfect one for me to wet my feet in it. So, Michael, we will be not officially joining the whole June on the Range, but we will be reading one book during June on the Range to to go along with your read along. Okay, and the last one we got was I mentioned previously on this during another book sale or book fair or two that whenever we see a book from the Shannara series, whenever we see one of the nice hardcover copies, we pick it up because we haven't read any of them, but we've obviously it goes back a long time since I was very young, and it's one of those ones that I say that one day I'm going to read. Let me just collect these nice hardcover copies whenever I see them, and when I have a complete set, we're going to sit down and read them. And so that's what I do. We have a bunch of them back there, and so we saw another one that we didn't have yet. This is the Voyage of the Jerle Shannara. These are by Terry Brooks, these books. So I think I forgot to do close-ups for half of these, but like I said, I had a few sips of wine, so that's what happens. So this one came out. This is later on in the series. This is the, there's a few different Shannara mini-series, I guess you would call them, and this one is from the Voyage of the Jerle Shannara. This is the last one, Morgawr. I totally butchered that name, but anyway, you can read it there for yourself. So anyway, we didn't have this one, so there's one more to add to the Shannara collection. So, okay, so that is everything that we got at the Fairfield book sale. I would like to say it's going to be a long time before we do another book haul, but I know that's not true because I already know we're going somewhere else very soon. But in the meantime, we're going to put in a book review or two. But so anyway, thanks for joining us here today. If you've read any of these books and you have any thoughts on them, let me know. If you think I should read that Sword of Truth series, let me know if maybe we'll hold on to that book. But otherwise, if you don't have any comments, leave Olive a puppy emoji. She always likes to see those. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button along with the notification bell so that you get notified the next time Olive says it's okay to upload another video. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you soon. But in the meantime, take care of yourselves and each other. And we'll see you next time.